Hello everybody, thank you very much for joining us again in the OTWO Pod. This is our third episode, and again this first season is building greener businesses. So again, we'll be asking a lot of companies to join us and share their initiatives, share their passions, share everything that they have experienced to be able to help others to do the same. So today, Martin Forde, thank you very much for joining me today.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. Martin is part of DHL. Martin, would you like to explain a bit about your role at DHL?
Sure. I'm the Managing Director, DHL Express Gibraltar. We've been doing it now, I think we're in our 13th year actually.
Wow.
A long time. I first came to Gibraltar in 1992.
Been here a while.
Quite a while.
Kind of a Janito already, right?
I'll be honest, no. I love it here. I originally came to work for Bacedonis actually.
Wow.
So I worked for project vehicle side for 12 years. And then I did leave for a couple of years, and then the opportunity to work for DHL came up. And we're a small operation, we're 22 people. But I love doing it. It's good fun. It's hard work. We have a great team of people, and
so you've already been always been involved in transport and sort of that.
Yeah, my role at Bacedonis was on the logistics side, and then I took a short break and worked for a couple of years for some Danish companies, specialising in humanitarian logistics.
Wow. Into
disaster areas, conflict areas. It's good fun.
I can imagine.
Challenging, but good fun. So DHL is, I was going to say a lot easier, but we have our daily challenges.
I can imagine during the Christmas period that we've just gone through, that must be a bit more challenging.
I was talking to somebody this morning, and this year I think has been our busiest ever.
I can imagine.
Yeah, quite online shopping. And
it's getting big, isn't it?
It is.
It's getting bigger than ever, I can imagine.
It's challenging. And also managing people's expectations as to when they would like their package delivered, which we can't. So
let me just run, when you first started with DHL, I can imagine it being very different to what it is now.
Extremely.
What differences and what changes have you seen with regards to sustainability as being its main focus? Yeah. Have you noticed during your period there?
Yeah, I mean, for us, when I'd never been involved with working for a courier company, and I will be honest that Gibraltar, we work the same way as the other, what we call the offshores, Jersey, Guernsey, the Isle of Man. We all report to the UK, but we're independent. And so when I started it was something I'd never done before, and there's a massive learning curve. But right from the start, I mean, I always wanted to try, and knowing something about the background of DHL globally is try and apply some of the workings that they have in Gibraltar, and i.e. with vehicles in particular, which became, you know, quite quickly a problem for us, operating diesel vehicles, which I think are terrible for Gib.
How many vehicles do you guys have in total?
So we have 5 vans, and we operate 3 125 scooters, for want of a better word. Right. And we have a couple of spare bikes as well when we're servicing, etc.
So what goals have you seen have been implemented? So I'm guessing because you work with international DHL, you gear a lot with their sort of policies and focuses and goals?
Yeah, and on the vehicle side, I mean, we get regular bulletins as to what's happening within the group, and electrifying fleets is a big thing. It started off very slowly. So we looked at that and wanted to get involved, wanted to change, and started with the bikes first of all. So we had to look, again, the problem was looking around trying to find what was available on the market. And I actually looked up my dates today, and we started looking in 2018.
Right.
And there wasn't really, we struggled to find something suitable until we found a company in Barcelona.
And they deal with them.
Yep, and they're sold here now. I think we were the first people to buy 5 for Gibraltar.
Wow.
Wasn't without its problems, because they were Type 1 bikes. We had various issues, and to cut a long story short, we've replaced some already and bought the Type 2, which
these hills, right?
Yeah, problems with batteries, the whole thing made in-house. We went to the factory, and they even asked us if we wanted to be a dealer for them in Gibraltar, but we politely declined.
It's amazing that you've been ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
I mean, Martin, that's just really commendable, to be honest.
Yeah.
Is it something that you've always believed in?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, since the change, I mean, the problem we had with the normal 125 bikes is, after we work them hard as a courier company, and when they start to go wrong, you're forever spending money on them. With the electric bikes now, you know, as long as you service them, there's very little that goes wrong with them. So our servicing costs are a lot better.
I can imagine with electric vehicles and changing your fleet, with regards to infrastructure and electrical points, this is something that you must have invested in as well.
Yep. So we got charging points at our offices, warehouse. The good thing with the bikes is you can just push them inside the warehouse and plug them into a normal socket. And so you don't need anything special.
The time for charging?
That just charges overnight. So I don't know actually, but I should. But probably 8 hours. They're fairly small batteries.
It's amazing.
They worked out really good.
So what was the particular turning point that made you to say, right, we need to do this? Is there anything in particular that you said, I need to change?
Aged vans that were costing us a fortune to repair. I mean, that's the problem for me with, and I'm sure other companies must have the same problem, is that as the diesel vehicles get older, they have this diesel particulate filter. And if you're not running the vehicles on long journeys, they clog up. And we were getting to the point where we were cleaning, going in for a service, they'd clean it, it wouldn't clean. And we ended up £700 trying to clean a filter. So we weighed up the options and decided to change 3 of our smaller vans. And we bought 3 Renault Kangoos. In 2000, I have to look up my notes, 2021.
Right.
We ran those, they're great. Servicing costs are half of what a normal service would cost us. There's just fewer parts to go wrong.
So when I had a chat with Gatli the Wuhaya, he's the director of Wastage Products, and he is very much involved with sustainability as well. And he was very much saying, you know, sustainability does equal profitability.
Yeah.
And do you believe, as a transport company, that is the same for you
we're
guys?
we're saving money. I mean, our electricity, the fact the whole fleet is electric now, I haven't seen a massive increase in our monthly Gibraltar bill. We're saving, we don't spend any money on diesel. And as I say, the servicing is, I mean, in the 3 Kangoos now, I don't think we've replaced any parts on them. Batteries are guaranteed for a long period of time.
And with regards to your employees, do you see any do you see very receptive towards these changes, or have they, with regards to ESGs and any sort of sustainable?
Yeah, that's, I don't know whether they're as passionate as I am about it. So it's about, you know, explaining to people why we've bought them. You know, we don't have the breakdowns which we were having as some of the vans got towards their end of life, which was always, you know, for a courier, I want them loaded and out the door, and they're saying, well, my van's not working. So it's more an educational thing, especially with the couriers, I think, as to why we're doing it. You know, because it's a big investment as well. You know, we invested in only in 2023 2 larger vans, 2 Mercedes, and that was a £100,000 investment just for 2 vans.
This is what I'm saying, because I mean, you have to think of the long term, right? And this is why I thought, I mean, when is it that you first started buying the fleets you mentioned?
Yeah, the scooters, 2018,
you mentioned.
registered in 2019, and then 21 and 23.
But in the long term, you think, how much do you spend on diesel? How much?
And also environmental issues, clean air in GIB. You know, it's about doing our bit for it, really, because that's that frustrates the hell out of me. Some of the vehicles we see.
I can imagine. I can completely imagine. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's all about showcasing as well that it's not only. I mean, a lot of people have it in their minds that sustainability is going to cost me a bomb. And it's good to see the fact that actually it doesn't, because it does create profitability. And I can imagine DHL as a company would be more attractive to a person that would be more environmentally aware.
I would hope so, yeah. I mean, I don't know what local opinion would be on it. Again, it's about explaining our reasons for investment. I mean, prices these days increase every year, but DHL, they look at it and say, but we're investing in the future, we're investing in sustainability. It comes with it, unfortunately.
Any other green policies that DHL have done as a group?
Well, I was busy looking this morning, and I mean, the interesting one was back in 2014. So we're owned by the German post office, DHL, Deutsche Post. And in 2014, in Germany in particular, they were trialing electric vehicles, and they were frustrated by what was available on the market. So they basically set up a joint venture and started called Street Scooter. And even still today, they manufacture, I think, 4 different models. I mean, Germany is probably the best example of being number one with environmental issues, I think, dealing with them. So I don't know the exact figures, but in terms of last mile deliveries for packages in DHL, it's incredible in Germany. Lots of bicycles, e-bicycles, which are also popular in other cycling countries, Denmark, Holland, where you'll see guys going around making deliveries on
with cargo bikes.
Yeah.
Is this something that you're looking into? I mean, I could imagine the infrastructure of cycling is not right now where it should be, even though there is some improvements, but there's not.
I would like to do it. We did try to. We wanted to trial one for Stuart Headley from e-bikes was going to loan us one, and the problem was we couldn't get insurance for it because it didn't belong to us.
Right.
So something we've got to look at, whether Stuart might have to hire it to us, I don't know, and then we're okay. But yeah, I mean, I've got some couriers who I think would be more than happy to try them. You know, whether we could get better access to Main Street, it's things like that help us, because again, although we're using an electric scooter, we've then got to find somewhere to park it, and even that's challenging. So the guys are taking a chance, parking in places where sometimes they shouldn't. We try and avoid parking tickets, but we can't. But I see people with cargo bikes and often wonder, where do they park them when they're, which is another challenge, you know, and something that needs to be considered.
There is. I mean, I've just actually seen in December there was a rollout of like 170 new parking spaces for bicycles, which was really good.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing.
I mean, they are big. So
cargo bikes is another issue altogether.
Yeah.
Cargo bikes is. Normal bicycles, at least we're getting in that. And the fact that there's a new rollout of bicycle parkings means that the people are needing it.
More people are using them, absolutely.
So it's going in the right direction.
Yes.
So have you got any success stories that you can share with regards, and perhaps maybe adding into the success stories, any advice that you can give somebody that's interested in, perhaps has a transport company, would like to make any changes? Yeah,
I mean, our success is transferring the fleet to 100% electric, really, which for me, look, there are more companies doing it, thankfully. Post Office, I think their fleet is electric, Aqua Gib, I think, and you do see more and more. So for us, you know, all our vehicles are branded as being electric. So for me, that's a major achievement for us, given the amount of investment involved in it as well. You know, we are a small company, but we look at the long-term future and think it's a worthwhile investment, 100%. So what I say to other people, well, I guess it all depends on their type of business. I mean, I understand frustrations. We could talk to some of the companies that do deliver. There's 2 or 3 of them that deliver drinks and other to various bars, and you look at the type of trucks they use. Well, why can't you consider using smaller trucks, making them electric, much more user-friendly on Main Street?
Yeah.
I have a coffee every morning at Jury's, and I do get frustrated when one of the delivery trucks parks right outside.
Yeah, I mean it does, especially if you have to go through town, perhaps even make it as, you cannot go through town unless you have a certain type of vehicle. So at least...
Those would be good. For me, that's what we should be aiming for, definitely. Yeah. And those companies are long established. I appreciate there are people probably not prepared to invest depending on whether we have a deal or no deal. Yeah. But considering how long they've been operating, I would have thought you should have a long-term investment strategy for something like that.
Would you have perhaps all the changes that you've made for your fleet? Would you have found it perhaps a bit easier for any incentives that you maybe would have had, anything that you maybe have seen that DHL International has received in other sort of branches, and that you could say, well, you know what, if we would have something similar here in Gibraltar, it would make life a lot easier if a company was to change, or anything that you might share?
Yeah, not that I can think of. I mean, we have the rebate system when purchasing EVs from the government, which is a good thing. It takes a little while to get the money back, but
that's an incentive in itself.
It is, and people might look at it and say it's not very much, but
it's something.
I think so. Whether my pet hate also is, government. If you look at the electric bikes, I think, I don't know why people aren't trying to push them more as well, but whether you need a bigger incentive. But I guess from DHL's point of view, hard to say whether they've been incentivized in other countries. I don't know. I'm sure there would, especially with solar technology in new service centres, which they're building all the time. So
I'm sure in different countries
it will make but if there are more incentives, obviously you would hope more businesses would look at that and consider it and see it as a positive, I would have thought.
With regards to yourselves as an office and perhaps different sort of initiatives that you use to just digest a little bit and to move away a little bit from the transport and as an office sort of thing. Because I mean, in Gibraltar there's mainly offices. I mean, there's that industry is there. What implementations, what initiatives have you done to try and get into a good CSR, and perhaps do you calculate carbon footprints as a company, or are you going in that direction?
Yeah, we are not at the moment. A carbon footprint, again, I was trying to find some information on what DHL does globally, but you just open up so many different pages. So I might get, I need to get some support.
Something about Go Green or something.
Yeah, we do have this Go Green, which does cost, and I think it's going to become mandatory for our customers locally, which means you'll pay something like an extra £1 on your shipment, and then that's offset somehow through carbon schemes, carbon credit schemes. So DHL are saying we want everyone to invest in it, be part of it.
I mean, it's trying to invest for your future at the end of the day is what we're saying, and a £1 extra maybe will go a long way, you know? I mean, we always say...
Do you miss £1? Not really.
No. Would you miss the world? Maybe.
Well, exactly. Well, that's a way to look at it, of course. Yeah, definitely.
And with regards to different things that you can suggest for office staff and things like that, are you doing different sort of implementations in your office?
We're not, and actually we get audited by DHL once a year, and the person that came down, she wanted to know why we weren't sorting out rubbish. Yeah. buy into. You go to any service centre in the UK, and everything is separate bins for this, and this, and she was a bit horrified we didn't do it. So it's a simple thing we could do, but then off the back of that is, well, what happens to it? It just gets thrown in the bin.
I mean, there is different, there is recycling centres and things like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would be, I guess, as a company itself, I mean, I can imagine you go through a lot of paper and everything.
We do. It gets taken away and shredded every week.
Yeah.
What happens to it after that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we should ask our shredding provider what they do with it.
I mean, it's all about researching. I mean, I think it's all the little things that we don't realise that we do, and that can make big differences at the end of the day. You know, it's trying to find out, and perhaps the person hasn't thought about it, but even just asking the question, which is what we want to do all the time. Even just asking the question maybe plants a seed in the mind and thinks, well, you know what, I'm going to find out. Why not?
Definitely.
It's not going to hurt.
Yeah, and interesting, because thinking down at New Harbours, there are no, apart from some bins for cardboard, there are no other recycling bins. Maybe that's something we should propose to land property, and then get other businesses in there to start recycling. We could do it easily. We've got the space to do it, just need some extra couple of bins. Yeah. So cardboard is disposed of in the bins. But that's about.
And that's the easy one. The cardboard is always the easy one. The plastic one, I find, is always the most.
Toner cartridges as well. We get through a lot of those. We do recycle them, but again, we should ask the question, because I don't really know how they're recycled. Would be good to know.
It would be, honestly. I mean, we did a short article on these guys with regards to the recycling centre that we have, and obviously we tracked the rubbish to Spain and to see their recycling plant in Spain. So you can be kind of at ease that they are going to recycling centres in Spain.
Right.
But it's all about showcasing and promoting this. And again, you know, it's all about bringing it to the public and to showcase, so that they can see that their efforts are not in vain. It is.
No, which is good, and that's a concern of ours. I mean, and maybe it's something they should be saying, this is what we do with it, and showing us the trail of it. Yeah. Because from an audit point of view, on things like toner cartridges, it would have gone against us if we didn't recycle them. Yeah. And then you've got to explain why you don't do it. Yeah. So they check a lot of things, not just how we work operationally.
That's really cool.
No, it is. It is. I mean, we had our first audit last year for the first time, and it was a massive learning curve for us.
Amazing.
And we've changed things, already, just in terms of the general office operations as well.
Amazing. So anything that you have to look forward to for 2025, any goals that you have, any inspiration that you're thinking? I mean, you've already done amazingly with changing this fleet to electrics, and I think you were one of the first companies in Gibraltar,
yeah, I think so,
if not the first one,
I think so,
that has changed their fleets and has gone through the learning curve, I think, of sustainability as well as technology and how it's been evolving. But is there anything that you think as a general company that you would think I would want to maybe research or have a goal?
Yeah, I mean, I think our aims are more making sure route optimization is one. So our vehicles are not wasting journeys. It's something that's now happened in the UK. So basically, we're waiting for it to come to Gibraltar. We've been told it'll be this year. So the driver loads, and they would have mapped out Gibraltar, and it will tell him which way to deliver them. Perfect. Yeah. So so less miles on the vehicles. We're using less power. Yeah. That's better for us. Reduces our costs because we're recharging the vehicles less. So that's coming. I think other things are personal, just from an educational point of view, with frustrations in making deliveries, trying to get onto loading bays, maybe lobbying government a bit harder. Well, we could do that through you, I hope. Maybe. Making understand the problems that not just us, but other delivery companies have, where you've got vehicles that keep rotating, trying to find somewhere to park. Okay, I could look at it and say, well, ours is electric, we're not polluting, but
it's still cars on the road.
It still is. It still is.
Something that is
and I guess getting the employees to understand why we're investing and why we will continue to invest, really, certainly in the electric vehicles. And
it's all about planting the seed to the people and educating. And at the end of the day, as employees and as employers, I think that it's a very big role that you do play in your employees and guiding them, because I'm guessing a lot of people that are using those electrical vehicles are realizing how good they actually are and how beneficial they might be, and you might influence them to buy their own. I mean, at the end of the day, it is all about that.
I'm about to buy one, so I'm changing my car.
Amazing.
But I mean, just the thing I've thought about on the DHL side, even down to when we renew our company uniforms, we have to get everything back from anyone who wears them, and it's predominantly couriers, and everything gets returned to Germany and everything's recycled.
Amazing.
So
I mean, it's all about these practices that you can have and try and help. I mean, you've got that mentality and you can see it completely.
I like to think so.
I can't wait to see DHL grow as a company and see it become even more sustainable than what it is.
I hope so.
Very well done. Amazing.
Good.
Thank you so much for joining me today,
You're
Martin.
welcome, Vanessa.
Honestly, it's
Pleasure
been an
to be here.
absolute pleasure.
Yeah, no, it's been very nice.
And thank you guys for listening and watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.